Hey witches, this is Hekterios. Welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about sort of in regard to a question I got in the comments to my last video. This is from HPK Spiritual Services, a friend of mine, Katina. She asks, can I do a video about wandering spirits visiting and passing through around this time of year? So this video is going to be kind of in response to that question, and also just about connecting with the spirits during this time of year in general. So yes, in the northern hemisphere, we're approaching Samhain, Halloween, and the veils are thinning. And so this means that paranormal activity is picking up. Interactions with spirits, with the dead, and with the unseen world in general are becoming more active and more apparent is the word I really want to use, because it's not really like the unseen world it's there all the time, but during this time of year when the veil thins, it becomes more in the awareness of people. I think that also has to do with the fact that we are moving from fall into winter, from autumn into winter, so it's like the days are shortening and the nights are lengthening, and so darkness is becoming more prevalent. The energy that carries is, the nighttime energy is about crossing veils, opening pathways and doorways in magic and in the spirit realm. So all of that combines to bring it into our psyche's awareness more pronouncedly. So the spirit realm takes advantage of that and really makes effort, more pronounced effort, to communicate and to interact in our lives. And communication comes in many different forms from the spirits. They can communicate to you through dreams and visions. They can communicate to you through physical phenomenon and like moving things, or causing synchronicities and coincidences to happen to you that in some way will lead back to a spirit. Like for instance, for example, in my personal life right now, in my personal connection to spirit, one of my deceased ancestors is my grandma, and I was very close with her when she was alive. And I almost said whenever we were alive. In case y'all didn't know, I am dead. No, but whenever she was alive, we were really close. And in fact, she was the only grandparent that I've ever known. All my other grandparents were deceased before I was born, except for this grandmother. And her name was Rosa. And one of the things that lets me know whenever her spirit is around is roses. I will see a lot of roses, or in some way experience, or it will come into my awareness, to my reality, roses, whether that is through words, images, or actual physical roses, just the smell of roses, dreams that include roses in it, things like that. And lately I have been seeing a lot of roses. I've been seeing them in person. I've been seeing people posting pictures of them on their social media and sharing images and different things like that. So I know that to me, that means that my grandma's spirit is around and visiting during this time of year. And it is during this whole time of year. It's not just during Samhain or Halloween on that one day. It's this whole time of year. To me, it's all the way from actually the fall equinox all the way through the winter solstice. To me, that represents really the main whole dark half of the year. And that's when, it's more easier to work with the dead and the spirit realm in general. So a lot of people will be experiencing that type of thing that I just described, that with their ancestors. Now, on another topic, and then to answer Katina's question, the dead in general, your ancestors or not, will be prevalent and passing through as well, especially if you are sensitive and psychic in some way or another. The dead, the spirit realm is aware of your abilities. If you can see them, they are aware that you can see them or hear them or perceive them in any way, whatever your psychic ability is, whatever your sensitivity is, even if it's just you can feel their presence. If you have any kind of sensitivity like that, the spirit realm is aware that you are sensitive to that. And so when it's this time of year, when it's easier for them to do things, because it takes energy. When the spirits want to interact with the living, it takes energy from them. Just like whenever we're alive and we do things throughout the day, that takes energy. It's the same for the spirits. It takes energy for them. It actually takes a lot of energy for them to interact with the physical realm. It's easier for them to interact with sensitive people, and it's easier for them to interact during this time of year when the veils are thin. So they basically take advantage of that double sensitivity, amplified sensitivity, and they will really come forward and make more effort to communicate and interact. And some of these spirits just want to talk. I mean, honestly, they just want to tell their story. They just want someone to understand them. They just want to, maybe when they died, no one that was living understood some certain things about them, or knew some certain things about them or about their life, or they have some unspoken messages or things that they didn't get to communicate before they died. Just a lot of different things like that, unfinished business. And so they just really want to come forward to people who can hear them or perceive them and communicate that information. When it comes more to your ancestors, they really just want to come forward and probably give you advice, let you know that they're still around, things like that. But when it comes to just the random dead, for lack of a better word, without trying to be insensitive, they just want to communicate in general, like different things. So if they come forward to you, don't get scared. I mean, there is going to be sometimes some spirits that will come forward with, malevolent type things. It could be enemies that have deceased, or it could be enemies of your ancestors and things like that. They could come to you and try to just fuck with you in general. So be aware that banishing magic is important during this time of year. Protection magic. Make sure that you are keeping tabs on that and keeping that maintained, especially during this time of year, if not always in general. But most of these spirits that are coming through are either just randomly passing by, or they're coming to you because you're sensitive. And if that's the case, just hear them out. Just do a small ritual for the spirits that come to you. I would do it separately, like do a ritual for your ancestors, or if not several during this time of year, and then do some rituals for the other dead that come to you. Let them know that you do hear them, acknowledge them. Basically, all they want to do is be acknowledged. That even goes for the nefarious spirits as well, because when you acknowledge the spirits, you give them energy, you give them attention. It's just like with the living, like when someone is talking in a room full of people, some people will ignore them, some people will carry on other conversations, and some people will listen to that person that's talking. Okay, so it's that type of thing, like what you're giving your attention to will make them feel heard. It will make them feel like they matter, and it will give them peace, okay? So when these spirits are coming through to you, they might be restless spirits that never got to communicate certain things. So if they're coming to you, acknowledge them, give them a chance to get that peace and get that comfort of knowing that they matter still, or that someone out there cared to listen to them, and give them that time of day or time of night, whatever it is. So okay, now that I kind of covered over that, I do want to talk about a little bit about the type of rituals that you can do. I like to use Santa Muerte candles. I stocked up on a bunch of these. I always stock up on a bunch of these during this time of year. I do honor the dead throughout my practice year-round at certain times. But during this time of year especially, I just kind of go over the top with it. So I like using these candles, Santa Muerte. That's just my preference. Santa Muerte is a deity in her own right that you can just work with anytime. But I like to use these candles as, what I want to say, like I don't really know why. I just feel like Santa Muerte helps me connect with the dead. So I like using them for that purpose. And for that reason, there's different colors that you can get. Typically, I use the black ones for the dead that I don't know personally, to give them peace, to let them know that they're acknowledged, but also give them peace. And then with the red Santa Muerte candles, I use that to give energy to my actual ancestors. There's lots of different colors. I mean, you can use whatever you want. You can just use regular candles, but I like using those for the symbolism. And like I said, I feel like Santa Muerte really helps me connect with the dead. I also have this. I don't know if y'all can see it that well. They're little beads that look like skulls. They're carved into skulls. They're bone, ox bone, that is carved as skulls. You can get these online. And I just use this as a representation of my ancestors as well, and the holy dead. The holy dead to me are spirits of witches and magical people, like highly spiritual, magical people that died. To me, they become the holy dead. In a religious term, you might call it the saints, but I believe that there's more than just the Catholic saints or whatever. I feel like anyone who is magical and died becomes a holy dead. So I like to connect with them in particular, as well as my personal ancestors, and I use this type of mala necklace to represent that connection. And I wear it a lot during this time of year. So yeah, you can do all kinds of rituals. I mean, really, your own mind is the limit on that aspect. Your own creativity is the limit on that aspect. You can do your rituals however you want. Traditionally, there's what's called silent suppers or dumb suppers where you hold a dinner in silence, set plates and drinks for the dead, and just have that meal in silence with them. And that's one traditional way to honor them. I don't really do it like that. Mostly what I will do is I'll set an altar to the dead, or set up my altar for the dead, and I will just put plates of food and drinks on my altar and just leave it to them in silence, and then I'll just do like whatever in my own life. And I'll just leave it there overnight, and then the next day just go throw the food outside or something so animals can eat it. That's what I usually do with offerings. Because the spirits will consume the energy of the spiritual energy while it's on the altar, and then afterwards I will throw the remains outside so animals can finish it. And I feel like I'm not wasting food in that way. That's just how I do it, but you can do it however you want. Another thing that you can do is actually just, this is more of a traditional way to give offerings to the underworld, in particular, spirits of the underworld, deities of the underworld, is to dig a small hole, and put the offerings in there and then bury it. That's another way that you can do it with your ancestors if you want. You can take food offerings to their graves or something like that, and kind of dig a small hole there, bury it there. That's one way you can do it. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Really just do what feels right to you, do some research into it, and see what feels right to you. But one of the simplest things I do is light one of those Santa Muerte candles on my altar and just have it burning and just sit there and talk with the dead a little bit, kind of just catch up with them from whatever was the last time that I communicated with them, and just talk. And just like you would do whenever they were alive, you just talk to them, and they will communicate back to you. Depending on what psychic abilities you have, you may get telepathic communication like I do, or like other mediums do. If you're not that advanced, you might just get intuitions or feelings of what they're trying to communicate to you. At an emotional communication level, you'll just feel what they feel towards you, type of thing. Also, it could be days later after you do this ritual, you can just get random insights in your mind, and thoughts will come to you, dreams will come to you. That is a response from the spirits as well. So, I did a video on this already, I think, last year. I think I've done several videos on this topic already, kind of Samhain and all of that. So you can go watch the previous videos for more of what my views are. But I just wanted to come on here and give a little bit more information. We're always changing, we're always evolving, we're always growing. And so I think it's good to revisit topics on our YouTube channels, because we get more insights as we advance in the path, and then we can share more. So I will probably continue to revisit this topic maybe throughout this year and throughout the years to come. There's a lot more. I mean, if you have specific questions, that makes it easier for me, because this topic is so broad when it comes to spirit work and stuff like that. So if you have any specific questions about this time of year, about the spirits, about working with the dead and stuff like that, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and I will address that. Either in a video where I just address multiple questions at once, depending on how many questions I get below in this video, or I might just do like a video for one question that comes in. I mean, I don't know how many questions I'm going to get on this, but if you do have a question or something that you would like me to talk about, if you just want to know my views about something, leave that in the comments below and I will get to it as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Thank you for watching. I hope that you, really connect with your ancestors and the dead during this time of year. Take advantage of it. Once again, just make sure that you keep your banishings and protections up as well, because you don't want anything negative coming in during this, thin veil time of the year when it's easier for spirits to come. So just keep that in mind. Be safe about it, but also, take advantage of this time of year as well and really connect with the spirit. And yeah, I hope that you all have a great weekend. Hail to the witches, hail Hecate, and blessed be.